fall. Say you stand by your man, you tell me something I don't understand. You said you love me, and that's a fact, and then you left me.
Hello there, Tony Medley once again, and welcome back to my workshop. Today's project, I've been getting some walnut. It's been part of a wake top, so I cut them into circles for bases for a couple of bowls, and what I'm going to do, we're going to do a segmented walnut and probably maple or something like that, something to contrast it with. I could do a solid one. I think I might do one with the other one that I've got. Probably look nice in solid walnut. But all I'm going to do, I'm going to find the centre, glue a chucking point on it with hot glue, get it around, and then build the layers up. Probably 3-4 layers of a mixture, probably a dark walnut one on the top to match the bottom one. And then we'll take it from there. So I'll get it glued up, get it into the chuck and get it turned down. It's time to cut the segments. The circumference of the base or the worktop, what I'm using, what's in walnut, is 775 millimeters. We're going to make a 12 segment ring, so if you divide the 775 by 12, gives you 64 millimeters on the long side. But before we start cutting the segments, I've already marked that off at 64 millimeters. As I always say, you must mark them and it'll become apparent. Wiggly line on the top, and the edge that's facing you, a straight line. So we're going to make, I've got some maple here, we're going to do exactly the same on that. Wiggly line on the top and a straight line on the one nearest to you. When we cut, well, when we make the segments, and I'm sorry to keep harping on, but you cut the first one on number 1. I've got these marked number 1, number 2. the second cut on number 2, the third cut back onto number 1, the fourth cut back onto number 2. There's no need to go outside of the jig itself. All you're doing is replicating the wedgie that you've put inside. So as I say, keep on the inside. Whatever you do, don't turn it over. The wiggly line is for the in case your blade's slightly out. Right, once they're all cut and you've got the 12, we need to take the fuzzies off. My friend, I always say this, my friend over in America, likes me saying fuzzies. He must think I've got an accent. Anyway, you'll end up, once you've cut the 12 pieces, you'll end up with 6 with the line on the short part and 6 with no line. They have the line on the back on the longest part. And what we need to do is take the fuzzies off. Now whatever you do, we have not to take anything off that, because that's the angle what makes up. If you have to take it off there or there, just do it at a slight angle and a quick, you're having to do it that way. To take that one off there, just take it on the corner. So we'll crack on, and what we'll do, we will take them all off so that they're all gonna glue up nice, buttered up together, nicely buttered up together. What I find it best to do is to do a dry run, and what we're going to do, we're going to put the wiggly line on the top, and we'll start with the one with a line on the short side, then 2 without the line, 2 with the line, 2 without the line. As you can see, the wiggly line's always on the top, 2 with the line, 2 without, and 1 with the line. Right, what we're going to do now is clamp them all together dry. Right, all I'm going to do is just put a clamp on it and then tighten it up and do it without the glue. Slacken that off again slightly. You can just manoeuvre them into so that it's tight up against the clip. And then just give it a quick nip up. Right, as you can see, the nice tight joints, I'll turn them over so you can see. There's no way that you can see daylight through them. Absolutely superb. Ready for gluing. I always find it best to use a piece of cling film. It saves you cleaning all your clamp at the end of the day with all the glue. So if you just put a piece of cling film on, and then it keeps it nice and clean. Just slacken it off. And then all we do, start at the top here. Plenty of glue on. And then just push them together. Then another one. And as I say, if you just rub them together, and it saves you doing every single piece. ensure when you glue them together that you have the wiggly line followed by the lines on the inside. Right, if you just put the ring or the Jubilee clip back on and then cover the top again with a bit of cling film. Then we're all ready to tighten it up. Now just to say, nip it up, just to make sure that it's all pushed out. Yeah, that's okay. And then tighten it right up. Now that one, if there is any imperfections in it by one being high, you just give it a little tap with a hammer and it should be okay. Well, there we go, one completed glued up ring. All I've done, I've glued the 4 rings together and now it's ready to mount onto the base of the new bowl. So we'll just take it off, take them all off and we'll see what we've got. Should be all just glued together nicely. Right, we've got the 4 glued together, and as I always say, it's so important to get these. It's not very well lined up, but it's okay. It's just so that the segments are staggered. So as long as you see where that's a bit better one. It just makes it a lot easier for you when you glue them all together. Right, now that I've got them all glued together, it's time to glue the 4 rings to the physical base. And all I do to be put the glue on, and then I always protect the lathe. There's nothing worse than all glue and all the muck and everything, so I put a couple of sheets of toweling on it. Then I put it on and obviously turn it around, mix it around just to make sure that the glue spreads okay. Then I have a piece of wood just to put some pressure on it. Now just make sure that it's back in line with the bowl itself, because once you start to turn it, it will be off centre, so it's got to be back on centre, so within a quarter of an inch or so. What I then do is clamp it with these large clamps. There. Just turn it round a little bit. I hope you can see, not that there's much to see, but see what I'm doing. And what we're going to eventually end up with is 6 clamps on it. So and they must be really tight. I'm sorry if I'm in the way, but you get the gist of what I'm trying to do. And now, once you've got the 4 clamps on, we're going to have to continue with one at the top and one at the bottom. And the art is to make sure that you get them as tight as possible before the glue goes off. Make sure they're really, really tight. And then we want just one on the bottom there. Right, that's it. Make sure they're all tight. Just nip them all up and make sure that they're all nice and tight. Right, I've turned it, reversed it round, and I've put it in the bowl reversing chuck. I already cleaned it up with methylated spirit, applied sand concealer. So all I'm going to do now, then I use Yorkshire grit, and I'm just going to put a little bit of wax on the bottom. Was just to show you, I keep harping on about it's so important to do the bottom as much as the top. So I'm not going to go through the full process with you. But make sure you do the bottom just as well as you do the top. It's just time to put the finishing touches on now. Put the logo in the bottom. And that just finishes it off nice and neat. Just move that down as you can see. Managed to get it done. Must say it's a beautiful finish. All the bottoms finished off there. Very nice indeed. The walnut come up very nice, and to be perfectly honest, the maple is just like a piece of ivory. It's so shiny. Anyway, hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed it. It's absolutely freezing this morning. If you haven't already, please subscribe. If you like what I'm doing, give me the thumbs up, and any comments, just put them below. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch up with you on the next video. Bye for now.